Welcome to Matters Financial and Geopolitical from the Frontier. Thank you as always for stopping by. I'm always grateful. Macro thoughts, key ups and downs in Trump discretionary full year 18 budget. Defense plus 10%, nuclear security plus 11.3%, Department of Homeland Security plus 6.8%, EPA minus 31%, USDA minus 21%, and state minus 28.7%. Pretty extraordinary stuff, and huge cuts being asked of the state, USDA, USAID. It's pretty incredible. And I saw Marco Rubio saying it's not going to get through, but the intent is very clear. Home thoughts. I love this photograph from Faith Kanja. Reminds me of Mombasa, a coastal evening by the beach. Very pretty sight it is too. Chandra Observatory, which has this extraordinary telescope, powered by a supermassive black hole. Light from this quasar took 6 billion years to reach our eyes. That took me to Don DeLillo. There are dead stars that still shine because their light is trapped in time. Where do I stand in this light which does not strictly exist? Time Vietnam War protester from an iconic photograph. Took me back to DeLillo again. There is a world inside the world. I like this photograph from Roe Etheridge's American Spirit, Alicia with Roses. Image courtesy of the artist in Andrew Krepp's gallery in New York. And finally, a last DeLillo piece, which I've been using a lot lately. The specialist is monitoring data on his mission console when a voice breaks in. A voice that carried with it a strange and unspecifiable poignancy. He checks in with his flight dynamics and conceptual paradigm officers at Colorado Command. We have a deviate tomahawk. We copy, there's a voice. We have gross oscillation here. There's some interference. I've gone redundant, but I'm not sure it's helping. We are clearing an outframe to locate source. Thank you, Colorado. It is probably just selective noise. You are negative red on the step function quad. It was a voice, I told them. We have just received an affirm on selective noise. We will correct Tomahawk. In the meantime, advise you to stay redundant. The voice, in contrast to Colorado's metallic pigeon, is a melange of repartee, laughter, and song with the quality of purest, sweetest sadness. Somehow we were picking up signals from radio programs of 40, 50, 60 years ago. Political reflections, all the battles that were fought around the world in the last 4,000 years. Saudi Arabia and China signed deals worth $65 billion, according to the Voice of America. And obviously, Saudi must have been touting for sovereign wealth funds to buy Aramco. Damascus today, despite the NATO jihadist terrorist attacks, everyday life goes on. It's useful to remember how Mark Rutte won this election. This political chameleon successfully invaded Geert Wilders' territory. And I spoke about these elections. I said the right has the wind in its sails, but in Europe the elections are not of the winner-takes-all variety. And I was saying that given that fact, it would require a very big tide, a tsunami even, to carry Geert, Marine and others into power. The euro, I said counterintuitively, might rally bigly if a coalition blocks Geert in the Netherlands and the French second round vote blocks Le Pen, which is what we're kind of seeing. BBC World Service is asking, has populism peaked in Europe? Same question that DW News is asking. European right-wing populism has passed its peak. I'm not saying Erdogan can't do it, but I think it's a bluff, said Yesi Lada. In 2016, 60% of the goods Turkey exported to the rest of the world went to the EU. Europe also provides at least 2/3 of FDI in Turkey, as well as many of its tourists. Growth was negative in the last reported quarter, and on Wednesday the government published the worst budget deficit and unemployment figures since the aftermath of the 2008 crisis. I'm not saying Erdogan can't do it, but I think it's a bluff. We need to sell our textiles and other goods to Europe because we aren't a resource economy. Turkey just isn't Russia. It has been an extraordinary intervention, and it'll be interesting to see how much will move the dial for him amongst Turkish nationalists, and then consider that I think these interventions bring unnecessary stress to his diaspora communities, or are they his diaspora communities? He's trying to assert that they are. Uganda, even worse at elections than America. This is the Daily Show, if you fancy an interesting and humorous link. Women in the world, Sudanese couple adopts infant granddaughter after their daughter dies fighting for ISIS. This has been the fundamental problem. The rebels, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, whatever you want to call them, not many of them have been indigenous to where they've been fighting. Currency markets, euro dollar 107.57. Up considerably, in part because of the populism bail. The Pearl's dollar index 100.27, Japanese yen 113.37, Swiss franc 0.9964. The pound had a strong day yesterday, but it's now at 123.29. Aussie 0.7673. India rupee 65.504. So that's firmed up. The Aussie's firmer. South Korean won 11.31.53, Rial 3.12.07, Egyptian pound 18.1535, and the South African rand 12.76.97. The pound leapt after there was dissent at the Bank of England. You can see this sharp spike. Aurelia, who's been bullish about the pound, is looking for 127. Let me put up the chart that she's posted. We're now just around 123.30. Euro sterling is interesting as well, 87.25 trading. Take a look at Aurelia's chart again. I tend to think that on 12-month view that sterling looks cheap. Dollar index, I'll put up a 3-month chart. We've been backing and filling post Janet Yellen, but you got to buy it on the dips. Euro dollar 107.60, and then I like this Santiago Calatrava's Oculus, Westfield's $1.4 billion bet on a New York City mall. Commodity markets, let's take a look at gold, 26.57, got below 1200 not too long ago. Crude oil, $49.15 in New York. We've stepped lower. I'm expecting us to step lower again. Javier Blas, WTI oil again down, falling below the 200-day moving average. Vanilla crop damaged after storm in main grower Madagascar. Storm killed at least 78 people in the Indian Ocean island nation last week, may have damaged as much as 30% of the crop, according to David van der Velde. The vanilla market is worth about $1.3 billion a year at current prices, was already tight after output slipped and quality suffered over the past 2 years in Madagascar, which accounts for more than 3/4 of global supply. Prices have doubled in a little over a year to more than $500 a kilogram. Demand for pure natural vanilla has been growing after food manufacturers, including Nestle and Hershey, shifted from artificial flavoring. Farmers haven't been able to keep up with increasing consumption, as it takes 3 or 4 years for plants to start producing vanilla beans. There will simply not be enough vanilla to meet the world demand. Vanilla is literally gold. Indonesian stocks rallied to a record high as foreign investors buy more local shares. Boris Johnson tweeted fantastic, albeit short stop last night in beautiful Uganda, grateful for President Museveni's commitment to AMISOM and regional security. Meeting him tonight, and the British High Commissioner is looking forward to that. Somali pirates release ship and hostages with no ransom. Uganda, this is Human Rights Watch, ensure independent investigation into Kasese killings. Police spokespeople reported the death toll over the 2 days as 87, including 16 police. Human Rights Watch found the actual number to be much higher. At least 55 people, including at least 14 police, killed on November 26, and more than 100, including at least 15 children, during the attack on the palace compound on November 27. South Sudan's total collapse could lead to destabilization of Central and Eastern Africa. Take a look at that. Saying that South Sudan much more likely than the CAR is to play host to another regionally significant conflict. And then The Economist is talking of a death spiral, famine, war, and incompetence in the world's newest country. The cause of this nasty bout of inflation is twofold: money printing and economic collapse. South Sudan's economy is amongst the least diversified in the world. In 2014, oil provided 99.8% of export revenues. At independence in 2011, when production was high and oil fetched over $100 a barrel, petrodollars flowed freely and fueled colossal political patronage. Better rains in 2017 have improved farmers' prospects across southern Africa. Clearly, we've had some initial indications that the whole region, South Africa, Zambia, Malawi, and Zimbabwe, will do well, she said. 13th March, I expect SADC growth to outperform in 2017. That was after a visit to Lusaka. I was in Lusaka this weekend. It was greener than an Augusta green. South Africa has had its best rains in years. When agriculture does well, African economies tend to hum. I expect SADC growth to outperform in 2017. The rand hovered near a 19-month high against the dollar early on Thursday. We're still holding to most of those gains. Put up a dollar rand chart, but I think it's expensive, and from a trading point of view, I think it's a sell. South African all shares up 4.14% this year. Egyptian pound is at 18.1535. Nigeria's Buhari marks his return with a rare economic council meeting. Nigerian all shares minus 5.42% this year. The Ghana Stock Exchange Composite Index up 11.19% this year. Could not believe that the incoming president has appointed 110 ministers. Newsy celebrates Exxon entry. This is African Confidential, but saying won't raise much tax as he hopes. It is unfortunate that the unintended consequence of the capping of interest rates was a slowdown in lending by our commercial banks, President Kenyatta. The growth in credit dropped from 16.8% in January 2016 to 4.3% in December. This is an issue that concerns us and is one that I will actively seek to resolve so that credit can start to flow again to the real drivers of our economy. Rate cap needs to be removed so that banks and the government can work together to implement solutions proposed earlier, said Habil Alaka. The law was passed in good faith, but the negative consequences we highlighted are now emerging. When quality becomes king, volume becomes vanity, so says Dr. Mwangi. No bank can sustainably lose 10% of its loan book. Co-op Bank reported full-year earnings, profit after tax up 8.292%. Loans and advances to customers increased 11%. Government securities income increased 39.57%. Loan loss provision increased 28%. Profit before tax up 17.5%. Profit after tax up 8.292%. EPS on a diluted basis was up 14.583%. dividend maintained at 80 cents a share. Cooperative Bank of South Sudan has a joint venture partnership with the government of South Sudan, and they made a monetary loss of about $5 million, mainly attributable to high inflation. I expect the share price to trade higher. They're also giving a bonus share for every 5 held. Liberty Kenya reported full-year earnings per share down 15.35%. Profit before income tax down 1.239%. Profit after tax down 14.702%. Spoke of a challenging operating environment. Said Heritage Kenya, a short-term insurance company, produced a commendable set of results with core earnings represented by underwriting profit doubling that in 2015. Heritage Tanzania was plus 28% in local currency. Liberty Life, our long-term assurance business, had a difficult year, higher claim levels and severe competition, especially in group life products. They are building a long-term business and prepared to ride the short-term ups and downs. Kenya shilling is at 103 again, first time this month. Nairobi all shares down 6.43% this year. Nairobi NSC 20 is down 6.93% this year. I wish you a wonderful weekend.